Diddy is once again trying to secure an early release from jail. He is currently being held at Brooklyn MDC while awaiting official sentencing. Soon after his conviction, his legal team attempted to have him released on bail by offering $1 million, but the judge quickly denied the request. Now he is raising the stakes, offering a massive $50 million bail package in an effort to get out.
If he will be released on bond while he awaits sentencing, his lawyers filed a request asking the judge to release Combs on $50 million bond.
His argument is that he should not be behind bars because the crimes he was convicted of were not violent. Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts under the Mann Act, which prohibits transporting people across state lines for unlawful purposes. Although this law is classified as involving violence under bail rules, the charges themselves did not involve direct physical harm. If he were released, it could pose serious risks for everyone who testified against him, which may explain why judges have been reluctant to grant him bail.
The judge said next time. So he probably let Diddy get away with it to see how far he was going to do it. But then he said, nah, we're not having this. Because you got to realize the jury is not sequestered. They go home every day. And he's known for tampering with witnesses. If you go through the trial right today, you see how he was trying to tamper with some of the people by having security, D-Rock, and other people talk to them. They are saying that in their testimony. So the judge is very aware of the fact by hearing the testimony of some of the witnesses that he was trying to tamper with the investigation.
During the trial, prosecutors presented testimony claiming that Diddy was aggressive toward Cassie and another woman referred to as Jane, but the jury did not convict him on those allegations. They found him not guilty of any direct violent assault charges. Some have pointed to a 2016 hotel video as evidence of wrongdoing, but because the case was never filed in California at the time, the statute of limitations expired and it could not be used to convict him. Diddy's legal team argues that he cannot be held based on accusations for which he was not convicted. Prosecutors, however, maintain that testimony and past incidents show enough troubling behavior to suggest he could be a danger if released, which is why the judge views the matter differently. Meanwhile, Jaguar Wright has cautioned people to remain vigilant, claiming that Diddy has likely employed extensive damage control tactics since the start of the trial.
Diddy does have a plan to try to derail the information, derail the chain of evidence, derail history as it actually happened. And he is the kind of guy that has no problem with re-victimizing people all over again. Let's just keep it a buck. These girls showed up at a very opportune time, did they not? Adria and Lamisha Fuller. Very opportune time. I do Pierce Morgan. The elites go insane. Ariel Mitchell Kidd drops Adria English as a client after she got drunk and talked with Tasha K, which was side in itself, if you ask me. I go on Pierce Morgan and say, I have 3 witnesses that are ready to come forward against the Carters. I didn't say against Diddy, I said against the Carters. And then there was the fake C&D, which was nothing more than a phone call from the lawyer Alex Spiro, who tanked the Rock Nation offering so Dame Dash couldn't make any
Jaguar went on to explain how significant Diddy's conviction could be, especially with figures like Albu also speaking out against him and causing substantial financial losses.
Get off Diddy.
I'll be sure it's somebody that at the time when you were doing your run back in 2024, you were waiting to hear from him. You knew he was going to say something. He finally waited to do the Diddy documentary to finally speak. And I think TMZ put out, or I forgot who put it out, but there was a documentary kind of put out on the downfall of Diddy. And I'll Be Sure was part of that, speaking his story. For you to see him, because again, he was very calculated on who he spoke with, whether it's real life or whoever it was. He was calculated as far as who he was going to speak with, but he ended up finally speaking and it going on the documentary. What credit do you give him for coming out and at least starting the conversation?
What do you mean? What credit?
Yes.
All credit.
There you go.
One of the best moments for me was seeing that documentary and watching how the footage that they took from this blue couch lined up perfectly with everything he had to say. Why did that not hit?
I don't
hit different.
Right.
I'm just
and you said it on your platform too, like, why aren't, as we're closing in on this trial, why isn't there more?
How didn't that hit different?
Right.
Because as much as I love, I'll Be Sure, much as I love Mr. Albert Brown Sr., father, grandfather, amazing artist, incredible writer, wonderful entrepreneur, and radio personality. It's so funny when I talk about all of the things that my friend I'll Be Sure is. It's funny, everyone forgets that he did all of these things. Like, it's sad that not until that documentary, people weren't even acknowledging that he was an original investor, owner in Uptown Records that got demolished. So bad boy. But for me to be able to say the same things that he was saying, and we haven't even been in each other's presence, how did that hit different?
There you go.
It's like they just don't want to accept the truth. Angie passes away.
Yeah, that right there.
Al said something. I said something. We were attacked immediately.
Right.
Why? You want to know what else I find funny? We got attacked for speaking about the truth. But all of those other entertainers, ain't none of them say nothing. Especially the females who were mentored and influenced by Angie Stone, no different than me. Not as much. I was truly influenced by Betty Wright, but then again, Angie Stone was influenced by her.
The law on bail is strict. To be released, Diddy must prove two things: that he is not a flight risk and that he is unlikely to break the law again. His lawyers argue he has no intention of fleeing. They say he would surrender his passport, wear an ankle monitor, and certainly would not walk away from $50 million on the line. The greater challenge is convincing the judge that he will not repeat the behavior linked to his conviction, especially given his history of similar conduct. The judge also reminded everyone that even Diddy's own lawyers admitted in court that if the case had focused solely on domestic violence, he likely would have been found guilty based on the 2016 video. That admission is now hurting his chances of securing bail. In addition, many celebrities may prefer to see him remain in prison, believing he holds damaging information about them.
When they have a warrant, a search warrant for a residence is not for a body. If they had one for a body, they would have brought it in. Now, if they would have went there and they found guns, drugs, and Diddy was there, they would have brought him in. You know what I'm saying? They would have brought him in. Like they brought his sons in. And then they want to know, well, why are these unlicensed guns in the house? Who drugs do these belong to? All those things like that. But a lot of people probably believe that, they just want to know, and the government want to know what things those people were doing on those tapes and who was doing shit on those tapes. Because I heard they found like 250 cameras or something like that.
That's what they say. They said they found a lot of cameras.
Right.
There's a lot of rumors about him recording some of these parties, and he's using a lot of this stuff for blackmail, like a lot of celebrities, even as far as politicians. You know, I think even Little Rod said that Diddy had every room taped and bugged.
Right. Well, in his affidavit or his deposition that he gave to the courts, he said every room was bugged, and that he did have tapes and information on a lot of different celebrities and people in the music business, people that were in politicians, and like I said, in other platforms, people that was in the ministry. Allegedly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, if the feds got their hands on these tapes, you could very well see like a domino effect of shit coming down on everybody.
It depends on what's on the tapes. You know what I'm saying? If it has anything, see, what people don't understand is this, is that having sex is not a crime, but having sex with underage.
Another major question is whether it even makes sense for Diddy to keep fighting for bail. If his sentence ends up being 1 to 2 years, much of the time he has already spent in jail will count toward it, meaning he might have only a short period left to serve. Getting out now only to return in a few months may not benefit him. There is also a larger conversation surrounding the case. Many observers believe that if Diddy were not famous and wealthy, he would never have the opportunity to fight for bail. Ordinary defendants in similar situations rarely get that option. Those who came forward with accusations hope the court keeps their voices in mind, rather than focusing solely on how much money Diddy can offer. It is worth noting that, despite years of investigation and significant effort by federal authorities, the case did not unfold as prosecutors had hoped. They spent years building it, but the jury was not convinced. Over the course of the trial, more than 30 witnesses testified for the prosecution, while the defense did not call a single witness. Even with all that testimony, the jury acquitted Diddy of the most serious charges. Gene Deal, however, has an intriguing theory about why the federal case seemed so weak. He believes the authorities were not truly after Diddy himself, but after the tapes he allegedly possesses. Prosecutors are rejecting Diddy's latest attempt to overturn his conviction. In a new filing submitted nearly 3 weeks after the verdict, they argued that his request for an acquittal or a new trial has no legal basis. Their stance is clear. The convictions stand, and he should proceed to sentencing. For now, Diddy remains behind bars. His defense team argues that he should not serve any time, while prosecutors are seeking a sentence of several years. The back-and-forth filings highlight how firmly both sides are standing their ground, and the judge will have the final say at sentencing. Gene Deal believes that even bigger names could emerge as the case unfolds.